Thank you for joining us today at Miniature Wargaming Labs. We're going to once again cover a solo game as we're all confined at home, the stay-at-home orders. So we're looking at games that you can play by yourself. So Brian, why don't you tell us what game we're going to look at today?
Today we're going to be looking at Rangers of Shadowdeep. This game has been out for a little while now, but recently they released the deluxe edition through regular stores.
Now this is a change because Rangers has been out for a while, and I know it's been popular, but I think that was something done by the game creator. Like he let it on himself. Who has it now?
So it was printed. So the deluxe edition was printed through Modiphius and distributed through regular distributors for friendly local game stores. Before, you could only get it through DriveThruRPG as a print on demand or as a PDF, and it was gaining a huge popularity and a huge following on there. It was made by Joseph Maculo, who made Frost Grave.
Yeah, so I think this is the one game, because we'll talk about Oathmark later, since I think we both bought into that. But, you know, he did Frost Grave, he did this. I guess Osprey didn't want it, but they wanted Oathmark, so Modiphius took this one.
I don't think he gave it to, I don't know the stipulations on this, but I think he wanted this game to be his own. And so he didn't publish it through Osprey. He rather published it through himself to see how it would do. And there's already 3 expansions for it. This was the newest thing. Modiphius picked it up, and they only picked up the deluxe edition. So this is the only. So if you want just a regular edition, you still have to go through the print-on-demand services.
Okay, for the expansions.
The only thing you can get in the store is the deluxe edition.
All right. Well, what would you say the theme of the game is?
So the theme, take Frostgrave, where it's a wizard and going to find treasure with a band in a abandoned high-tech city of, medieval times. This is more like, think of Lord of the Rings, Aragorn. His story where he...
Yeah, that's what I thought of first of when they said the Rangers, and you showed me the book before we all got locked up, and you showed me the artwork, and that was like his little band that was wandering the north in Tolkien's world, like the Rangers.
Yep, it's the Rangers. So you have anywhere from 3 to 4 miniatures, depending on how many players are playing. And it's a co-op and solo game, so you could have up to 4 players down to only 1. So it's set as a couple characters going through these dark areas, these dark woods, protecting people and just patrolling the lands and keeping everybody safe.
So what do you need to play this game?
So this game does require a little bit more than say Frostgrave. You'll need less miniatures. You only need 1 ranger figure and up to 3 or 4 other miniatures, and then you'll need some creature tokens or miniatures. They range from anywhere from giant flies to werewolves, and you'll need terrain. The terrain is varied on the mission. There's everything from forests to delving into an actual dungeon, but it's actually pretty light on the terrain, so you don't need a lot of terrain, say, as compared to Frostgrave, where the more dense it is, the more fun you'll have. But it's still played on 3x3 table. You'll need some D20s, and the big thing you'll need for this game is a deck of regular playing cards.
Oh, so it's a card-driven mechanic.
Kind of. So everything is dice until it's at the beginning of each game, depending on the scenario. You'll take there'll be a list of events and at the end of each turn is the event phase, and you'll draw out of the pre-selected events, and that'll be the event that happens at the end of the turn. So at the beginning, there'll be a list of different cards that you'll have to take out of the deck and build your a smaller deck that'll be the event. So let's say like there's event with an ace of hearts, 2 of diamonds, 3 of clubs, a 7 of diamonds, a queen of hearts, and then that'll be your event deck. So you'll only need up to 10 different cards out of the deck, but you'll need the entire deck.
So since we're talking about the mechanics, does it work like Frost Grave in playing some of the games, and then there's just the event deck at the end? You mentioned some D20s in there.
So it plays a lot like Frost Grave. So how it's set up is you take your rangers. So the ranger activation is first, and then there's the creature activation, and then there's the companion activation, and then you have your event phase. So that's the whole of a turn. So your ranger will go first, then the creatures will go, then your companions will go, depending if you have any companions. The more people there are, the less companions there are. So if you have 4 rangers, you have no companions, because you don't need any companions. You have 4 rangers. So you don't need any of the cards until the last phase, and that's just saying this is what happens, and then that'll set up for the next turn. But it is very much you'll roll. You're trying to roll over your stat, much like Frostgrave. You'll crit on a 20, and depending if you want to do different things with crits, there's different things you can do with crits. So it's the same stat line as it is in Frostgrave. So the similarities between this and Frostgrave are a lot, but you're less using magic and more using swords. So it's where Frostgrave is more sorcery out of the swords and sorcery. This is more sword out of the sword and sorcery.
So what would you say some of the unique features of Rangers of Shadowdeep are?
Definitely the solo game. So it is one of the better solo games out there, if not one of the best solo miniature games out there. It's very well put together, and no matter what, you're playing against a very good AI system. And the event deck, using a regular 52 card deck, is also really cool, because you don't need to buy any special cards for it. You don't need to, like, everybody has access to regular playing cards. I know people that are non-gamers that have cards at their house, so it's a more common item than, say, dice. So it's one of those things that, like, you don't think of when you think of miniature games. And they throw it in a way that doesn't make it feel like you could take it out and just use a table instead. So it's definitely adds it in without making it a key component.
All right. So how's the book laid out? Because you showed it to me before when you got him into the store at Games in Albuquerque, and I actually thought it was too nice of a book.
Well, I mean, it's the deluxe edition, so it is.
But you weren't selling any other editions. You weren't selling the poor man's version.
Well,
I'm used to, like,
we can't get the poor man's version. So it is. We can't get it. This is the only one we can get, and it is 100% worth it, because it is the book is absolutely beautiful. It's a nice, soft, like, faux leather feel to it. Everything's embossed. I mean, the paper is just beautiful, thick stock. It is. I mean, the art is absolutely beautiful. The layout is, your regular book. You have, so at the beginning you have your basic rules: how to build a team, how to build a ranger. Because so you have more. You add a little more personality with the ranger than you do like a wizard in Frostgrave. Because with wizard, you have your spells to give you your flair, and you have your school to give you your flair. With a ranger, you're just a ranger, so you have your personality, and you have your weapons, and you have your loadout, and you have your like specific trainings that you have that give you your flair. And then it goes on how to go your turn, how to do a turn, how to do activation, how to do the AI, how to do shooting, how to calculate damage, how to do everything like that. And then it goes through, and then it has some 3 missions, and then at the very end it has different scenarios for you to go through as well.
All right. So, how is gameplay organized?
So each turn has 4 different phases, as I said before. So you start with your ranger phase, and then it goes into the beast phase, and then the companion phase, and then to the event phase. So at the beginning, everybody will activate their rangers. The rangers will be able to do the most since they're the highest trained. And then the creatures will have a chance to rebuttal. And then if you have companions, the companions will be able to go, which gives you a nice dynamic where it's just like, it's not just the heroes go and then the bad guys go. It's the main hero goes, the bad guys go, then the secondary heroes go. And then the event comes. Now the event can range from anything from a random animal coming in to reinforcements of the bandits coming in. So it's like you're fighting 3 bandits because they're at a camp. What you didn't know is that another 10 are coming down the road, and now you're facing 13 at the end of round 2. So the events really change it up at the end, and like can actually like move gameplay from, oh, this is going to be an easy game, to, oh, this completely changed, and now I have to rethink all of my tactics that I was thinking of.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the ranger group that you have there. How is that organized, built, and how much can you customize it? Because it sounds like you're putting a lot of thought into the ranger and what's going around them. So is it kind of like D&D, where you can really micro control, or like Necromunda, or like you can really specify what kind of master crafted weapon or piece of garbage armor your guy's carrying around?
There's a lot you could do with your ranger. The ranger has so like you have a list of skills ranging from acrobatics to climb to pick lock. So it is like D&D. So you have these different skills that you put points into, and that's where you get your where you build your ranger. So you put a lot of info into your ranger. So like you not only do you have your regular move, fight, shoot, armor kind of stuff like that, but you also have the ability to get some spells. Obviously, you're not a wizard, so you're not going to be spell heavy, but you can actually have spells. But you also have heroic abilities. You have, of course, your items, and you can only have like a certain amount of items. So the items kind of play into what you are as well. So do you have lockpicks, like a lockpicking kit? Then you're more of a lockpicker. Do you have like more survival kits? So are you a survivalist, or do you have like an herbal kit? Are you making salves and stuff like that? Because then you go over your skills, and then that's where you really hone in your ranger's lore and everything. So you have like read runes, strength, survival, traps, leadership, navigation. So you really put a lot of work into the ranger, and then you go into the companions, and it's really just like the companions from Frost Grave, where it's just your basic move, fight, shoot, armor, everything like that, and 2 item slots, and that's it.
Okay. Now, one of the reasons we covered it is because this was designed from the very beginning to be like a solo co-op. So you could right now play this at home. And it seems very WizKids friendly. So if you already have your D&D models, you could play this.
It
How
is extremely WizKids friendly.
so how does the campaign system work in it? Is there a campaign system?
There is
I'm comparing this to Perilous Dark.
So in this book, there is a short campaign with the 3 games, and then you have the scenarios, which you could go through and just make a campaign. Where the big campaigns come in is every book after this is a campaign.
So that's the print on demand. So
yeah, and so like there's one with vampires. There's the vampire campaign. Then there's the werewolf campaign. And I think there's 2 other campaigns. I think they actually list them back here. But yeah, so like every book after the main book is a campaign. So yeah, there's the Blood Moon, the Temple of Madness, Ghost Stone, and Incinerator. So that's 4 other campaign books. So there's plenty. So like if you download or find this book, or if you already have it, there's plenty to go off of.
All right.
It is pretty much set up to be a campaign game.
All right. So let's start with who should play this game? Where does it fit into the universe of games?
This is a perfect game for those people that have a lot of D&D miniatures, or they play a lot of D&D, and they have a lot of D&D miniatures, and they want to expand on a character or want to role play, but also use their miniatures in a way that can be by themselves. Or if you're like the GM and you have all these miniatures and you have all this terrain and you've put in all this time in painting stuff and you want to play a game, this is perfect for you because you don't have to have a GM. You could bring in a couple friends if you want, or you could play at home by yourself, which we are finding we're out at home a lot nowadays. So it is definitely perfect for the person that wants to play by themselves. It's perfect for the people that are wanting to get into a game outside of D&D or other fantasy RPGs. It's really beginner friendly, and it's also co-op. So co-op games actually attract a lot more people than PvP games because there's not a competitive edge to it. Because if you lose, then everybody loses. It's more of a chance for people to feel included instead of pushed out by a meta or a wrong play or something like that, or a stronger player coming in and pushing you out.
All right. What would you say the game is missing right now?
With this deluxe version, honestly, that my biggest complaint about everything was that I couldn't get it through my store. Like I don't particularly like print on demand. It is a great service, and it's definitely has its place, and I'm glad it exists because it makes self-publishing games so much easier. But I don't like the quality of print-on-demand materials as much as professionally printed. So having this new edition where I could hold it, I know it's going to last a while because it is quality built and it looks good, it feels good. I really like more quality in my books than I do. I'll spend more money to get a better book. I'd say it's missing miniatures, but Nick Ayer's military figures already take care of that. There's already miniatures for this game. There is a Frost Grave terrain coming out from Cromlech, which will be perfect for this. So really, there's not much missing from this game because there's already 4 expansions to it, and it covers werewolves, ghosts, vampires, all of your regular tropes. So, I mean, I think they already have one that's a Lich Lord. So, I mean, I'm maybe a dragon. There we go. I want to see a dragon.
Well, you got all the the big box sets you sell through WizKids. They have like all the different full-sized adult dragons there at only $20 a piece.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like you got to buy them all.
$14.99.
I don't know. Do you remember Council of Worms back in the day? It was one of the last.
I do not.
Okay, that was a D&D one. Like if a world was ruled by dragons, it's like a box set expansion. Yeah.
That would be cool.
We won't talk about dead games now. So where do you hope this game goes going forward? We already talked about dragons.
More campaigns. This is definitely a campaign game.
Now, do you want Modifius to print them, or are you okay with just the deluxe edition and then the print on demand for all the campaign expansions?
I would love to see like Modifius combining all the ones that are out now into one book. That way, on my shelf, it's just 2 books, and I have 4 campaigns in one book. That would be cool. And then in the future, just keep going with the print on demand with the smaller stuff. And then once you build up to like 4 more campaigns, get Modifius, slap them all together, make a new deluxe game, new deluxe book. I would love that. Because, I mean, the thing with a deluxe book is that it should have more to offer than the original book. Of course, the nice cover, the better binding, the higher quality pages and printing is definitely a bonus. Having a little bit more added in there would be nice. So although I would like to see more printed by Modifius for this game, I want to see the game continue on as it is already.
I'm surprised you didn't ask for the articles in Wargames Illustrated, because Tim McCulloch does that with the Frost Grave. He does like those special release 1 articles for Frost Grave.
Oh, well, I mean, he does Spellcaster. I would love to see like a Spellcaster magazine for Shadows of or Rangers of Shadowdeep. That would be so perfect, because then you can just add in, it's like, oh, now like add in special rules to like, oh, you got bit by a werewolf. Now you're a werewolf. Now you're a ranger with werewolf. How are you going to balance lycanthropy with being a ranger?
I could see that blending. Yeah, blending the curses there.
Yeah. Or stuff like that, and adding like spells or maybe like companions, things that like that would be a good fit for the game, but can't be put in like a regular book, which is what he did with Spellcaster for Frostgrave.
Okay, so let's do the round out questions. We'll do our adversarial justice here. Why should you play this game?
You should play this game if you like playing. If you like to play by yourself and are looking into playing games by yourself. It's definitely a newer way of playing. So a lot of people are new to playing single-player games. And right now I think it's important to play single-player games. This is definitely one of the catalysts of the single-player miniature game world. And it is definitely a path setter for this kind of gaming. So if you're looking to explore the solo and co-op miniature gaming world, this is the place to start.
All right. So why shouldn't you play this game?
If you're diehard competitive and do not like co-op games, and you want to min-max your list to always win, this is definitely not the game for you, because this is a very well-balanced in the game's favor, where you will be having a very hard time and you will be pushing your brain to find ways to win. This is not, it's not competitive at all. It is a story-driven game with zero competitiveness because it is co-op or solo.
Okay. Well, I think that wraps up for us today at Miniature Wargaming Labs as we looked at our next solo game, Rangers of Shadowdeep. I'm James.
I'm Brian.
And we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.